Hey friends, Editing Shay here. So I'm just gonna start off this video with this caveat. The sound's a little bit out of sync. I've shot this twice now and it happened both times, so I'm really, really sorry. So that's what's happening there. I just want you guys to know that it wasn't done on purpose. I know it's there. You don't need to tell me in the comments. I'm aware. But I hope you all are happy and healthy and enjoy this video. Hello friends, my name is Shayla and today I'm here to film my reread wrap up for the month of March. As you guys know, I try my best to reread one novel and one manga series each month in the year of 2020. That is one of my goals because I have a beautiful and stunning collection and I want to make sure that I'm revisiting titles that I said I was going to be revisiting and making sure that I'm curating the kind of collection that I want long term in my home. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to dig into the 3 titles that I reread in the month of March. I have 1 manga series and 2 novels. I am going to start with the manga, so if you are not here for manga, I will leave the timestamp right here for you. I do hope you'll sit and listen anyway, but I know some people just aren't into graphic novels or manga at all, so that's why I leave the timestamp. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So the first title we're going to speak about today is Wish by Clamp. In this title, we're following an angel named Kohaku, and Kohaku has come down to Earth to rescue their mentor because no one can find this mentor. Along the way, Kohaku gets stuck in a sticky situation, and then this human male, Shuichiro, rescues Kohaku. And so Kohaku offers to grant Shuichiro a wish in return for saving him. And Shuichiro says, "Nope, I'm good. My life is good. I don't need you to grant me a wish." But Kohaku, being the pure spirited angel that they are, feels like they cannot leave until they have paid Shuichiro back. So this whole series centers around Shuichiro and Kohaku getting to know one another. Now, something that's unique about this series is that Kohaku is genderless. Angels don't have gender in this series, and Kohaku is extra special. In this series, though, it was written at a time where the pronouns used for Kohaku were just kind of thrown willy-nilly, so it's very unclear how to speak about Kohaku. So I use they. That just feels what's best for me and Kohaku. In this series, there's another side couple that has to deal with Kohaku's mentor that adds a really interesting dynamic to this. And then Kohaku also has a devil or, demon counterpart to his angel part, and they're about the same power level and everything. And the devil obviously likes to come and taunt Kohaku, and it's just really a lot of fun. Clamp's art style shines in this series. It's so well done. I do enjoy this Dark Horse omnibus that I personally own. Let's see, there's a not spoilery couple pages. That's a good look at Kohaku. This is just a really sweet story about learning what love is and what love can mean to a person, and how a person looks may not matter in the grand scheme of love. And it's really fantastically done. I highly recommend the series as a whole. On reread, I loved it just as much as I did the first time. And I strongly and highly recommend people check out Wish by Clamp because it's just a very unique series to me. I really enjoy it. If you guys know of more series like Wish, please leave your recommendations down below because I would genuinely love to try more stories like this. Also, I'm going to dive down the Clamp rabbit hole. Tell me your favorite Clamp titles down below. I have read Wish, Angelic Layer, and I am currently reading Cardcaptor Sakura. So let me know your favorite Clamp titles. I know Clamp, there's a huge catalog of things, so leave your recommendations down below and tell me why it's your favorite. Next up, we have Dark Legend by Christine Feehan. This is, I want to say it's book like 5 or 6 in the Carpathian novel series out by Christine Feehan. In this series, in general, the Carpathians are borderline vampires. They drink of their own people, and they do drink blood, but they don't do it like to kill like a standard vampire. They're not sparkly or anything, so we're not like Twilight vampires. It's one of those things where in this series, the males within the series don't see color until they meet their life mate or soulmate. And it's really beautifully depicted. I really like Christine Feehan's choice for the lore in this series. But essentially, a lot of the males have turned traditional vampire because there weren't females. Because a lot of the females would die in childbirth, and not a lot of Carpathian female children survive either. But they have found out within the series, in the first novel or two, that there are some human females that are compatible with their race and can be converted successfully. And so in this one, we're following Gabriel and Francesca. They are both Carpathian, so we're not dealing with the human aspect in this particular one. But it's one of those things where their dynamic is very unique for this series, in which Gabriel is a hunter like a lot of the males we follow, but Francesca knew who he was very young in her life. And thousands of years have passed since then, and they get reunited and reacquainted, and Gabriel sees her for who she is. And Francesca's just mad at this point. She's like, dude, no, I don't need you. I've lived a long time. I'm gonna like live my life out with this human. And it's just this really interesting dynamic. I really enjoyed revisiting this one. The first time I visited this one, it was about 10 years ago when I was in the middle of my first marriage. I kind of deep dove this series at the time, and I really enjoyed this. This was written in like 2002, so there are some dated tropes. There's some alpha maleness in this particular novel, so if those things are going to bother you, you may want to take a pass on this one. But I genuinely enjoyed my experience rereading this. It was really fun to revisit the dynamic between Gabriel and Francesca because theirs feels so unique for the series from what I'm remembering. So yes, definitely give the series a try. If not, at least try one of Christine Feehan's more modern series, because I do think her writing is great. And then last but not least for this video, we have Scarlet by Marissa Meyer. As you guys know, for the Tell It Again book club, April and I have decided to reread this, but also for a bigger project in which we are collabing with Steve over at the Lawn Gnome. We will have more details coming later this summer. But yes, my reread of Scarlet was very interesting for me. The first time I read Scarlet, I gave it like 3.5 stars. It was my lowest rated book in the entire series. And upon reread, I did not realize the linchpin for the series that this book was. This book really held up so much better on a second read. And I think partially because I kind of was prepared for that jarring experience of spending so much time establishing Scarlet and Wolf before we get anything from Cinder again. Because I remember being so annoyed the first time I read it. It's like, we left Cinder in jail. Like, I need to know what's happening with her. And so I was just annoyed that we kept not getting information about her. It took like 50 pages into the book before we did. And I just remember being super annoyed the first time I read it. But on a second read, like, I understand why we had to have that time to establish that before we revisited and tied into the previous book. I really love how this came together for me this time. I enjoyed the dynamic between Scarlet and Wolf much more. It felt super insta-lovey the first time I read it. I'm not going to deny that it's still insta-love, but I feel like it sat a lot better with me this second time. It felt a little more realistic, I guess, because I understood that, you know, basically this whole book takes place over the course of 2 weeks. So it's fast no matter how you think about it. But there are some aspects that I wish would have been more fleshed out, obviously. And the tie-ins and the new characters that we meet and the characters that we've been missing that we get to see time with was just really enjoyable for me. If you want more of my full spoilery and cohesive thoughts, April and I have our live show from the Tell It Again live show that we did, where we just deep dove and talked about everything within the book that we felt was of note. I will leave that linked for you. It's about a half an hour long, so it's not too terribly long, so you can get the information that you want from her and from me. We're pretty in line with this one. We both felt it was about 4 stars, so I am bumping up my rating to a 4-star on this one. I felt like I enjoyed it enough to actually change my rating on Goodreads. So that is something that is going to definitely be a journey, but I'm happy to say I enjoyed it more. It made me really happy. I understand why a lot of people love this book now, because on my first read, this was my lowest rated and I did not enjoy it, but I understand it upon read. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video. I will link the playlist and in the end screen of all of the videos that I've done for this series so far. So definitely give that a check out, and welcome to the channel if you're new. I would love it if you would subscribe and click the little bell so you know when I post new videos. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.